Ladies and gentlemen, this is a really exciting time for the PC Party and the province. Never before, in my estimation, has there been so abundantly qualified a candidate who was so compelled to serve his province as Dr. Kevin J Arsenault.
I have 3 words in my campaign slogan: integrity, vision, and leadership. I just want to say a few things about each of those. So I talked to a woman in my parish about, addressing and putting an end to corruption in our government. She scowled at me and said, you can't call people corrupt, Kevin. And I said, well, this is what they did, and this is how they got away with it, and this is how it wasn't covered in our mainstream media, and so they did it again the following year, and this is how they did that. I know, but it's just not polite. You got to find another word. And I spent 2 days going through a thesaurus and a dictionary, and I'm back to corrupt. So. And as a lot of you know, provincial nominee program has been just a terrible blight on our island for quite a long time. And right now there's a trial into day 2 on one of the scandals. There's many of them connected to the PMP program, and I'm going to share a little bit of information on that. And I don't think we have any idea of the revelations that are going to come out of this 8-day trial that's just starting to ramp up. I mean, already we've heard that the province was sending letters out with no addresses on them. I mean, come on. I mean, they must have known that they weren't here if they didn't have an address to put on the letters they had to write by. And with every bit of corruption, there's a massive cover-up. You can't get access to information, you can't get documents, and it goes on and on and on and on. The mainstream media in Prince Edward Island haven't been willing to publish what I've already found out about Wade McLaughlin's cover-up of that. In fact, I can find no article in The Guardian, nor have I ever heard or seen an article with CBC, my apologies, that reported something that should have been front page news, and that is the Premier of this province ordered the destruction of all of the documents of his Chief of Staff, Chris Leclerc. Because that is a criminal offense to destroy public documents. And it is an affront to democracy. So I do have a vision about where we're going. What I just talked about in terms of integrity has to do with my understanding of how government should work. Government should belong to the people. I'm going to do a whole range of things to make that happen if I ever get there. One of them is, for example, to truly make information available. It's just scandalous how little information is made public or even made available to the official opposition. The 2 biggest issues that I see are the land and water soil organic matter study. 18 years, federal and provincial scientific experts have been monitoring the quality of our soils in Prince Edward Island. And the depletion, especially in potato growing areas, has been phenomenal. The other thing about our land is we're losing a lot of it to non-resident and corporate land sales. The Land Protection Act is full of holes. It needs a complete revamping because over the last couple of decades we've lost nearly 100,000 acres of prime farmland is no longer in production. We are in an ideal location, for example, to be producing highly disease-free, chemical-free seed for the rest of the world. There's never going to be enough French fries in Robert Irving's inventory. But we cannot allow French fries to destroy our farmland anymore. I have a plan, and I'm totally open to having a full and wholesome, honest dialogue about how it can be improved. Well, I spent a full year studying the ethics of economics at a PhD level, so I think I know what I'm talking about. And the GDP is a scam that keeps the system in place, that benefits the few, and makes the rest of us think it's the only way forward for positive economic growth. Less than 10 families so far this year have received $56,840,000. If $100,000 increments went out to island families who've been trying to start their own little cottage industries or their little mixed farm in Montague or Bell River or Wood Islands or whatever, that would have been 568 new businesses bringing and revitalizing the communities across this island. You know what? Wade McLaughlin and the Liberal government, they don't believe that's the economic model that works for PEI. I do. I believe in islanders, and I'm going to take a chance if I ever get into power, and I'm going to show the Wade McLaughlins and the Bank of Canadas and the corporations that islanders can do just fine if they're given a fair chance, and we're not getting that. But you know, I've had a long career as a leader. I was the president of my student council in high school, and ever since that time, I've always had leadership roles. I got my PhD in ethics and various social sciences from McGill University. I've designed and taught numerous courses in ethics and religious studies as an adjunct professor, as I mentioned earlier, over a 20-year period. I led a successful campaign against Canada Post's plan to close all 5,200 rural post offices back in the late 80s. This is going back a ways, but that was very successful. Dr. Herb Dickinson and I worked together on the island front, but I worked right across Canada. Sure, a lot of them were privatized, and some of them probably not a bad thing, but a lot of communities, we were able to keep the post offices, and they're still there as federal post offices to this day. I was the executive director of the National Farmers Union back when Wayne Easter still believed that supply management was something to fight for or resign, and Lawrence Macaulay as well. That's a real tragedy. He was the leading voice at the time in the country on how supply management and the Canada Wheat Board needed to be protected at all costs. And I was the executive director in the 90s at the Jesuit Center for Social Faith and Justice, and had a wonderful team on various campaigns across the country and internationally. Actually worked in Central America as well with a North-South Alliance with a number of organizations in Guatemala, El Salvador, and Nicaragua. I was the president of the Atlantic Regional Association of Immigrant Serving Agencies, 2 terms, and also was for many years the Atlantic representative on the Canadian Council for Refugees. You know, one of the things that discourages me sometimes is how many people say, I really believe in you, I admire you, I want to support you, but you know, Kevin, don't you get it? Politics and ethics don't mix. You know what? It's time they started mixing. So I just want to wind up by saying, wishing me well won't make me PC leader or eventually premier. And I'm calling upon you, if you really believe my message and if you read some of the more research and you like the direction I want to take this province, it's not going to happen unless I get enough support to overcome the machinery that's behind at least one other candidate that wants to see things more or less stay the same. And moving forward in a reasonable, professional, and a very strategic way toward the realization of a vision that I believe is still possible for Prince Edward Island. Thank you very much.